All right, thanks so much for joining everyone today. It's a pleasure to see you all. We are kicking off the NSIN Foundry virtual information session. And this is really meant to be casual, so if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We also have a Q&A section at the end to, answer any questions you might have about the program or the process. And also really delighted we're joined by, NSIN as well, so we get to have that perspective and representation too. In terms of our agenda, we're going to go through NSIN and FedTech and who all the different players are in this program. We'll also do a quick overview of the Foundry program itself, so you can get a sense of, okay, really what will I get out of this? What does it entail to be paired with this technology and go on this commercialization journey? We'll then talk about a new aspect we have with this program around applicant networking. So you all have already posed some great questions before we got started around that process. And then we'll just go through some simple next steps, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. As I mentioned, really delighted, to work with the National Security Innovation Network, or NSIN, which you'll hear here, and specifically joined by NSIN itself. And I want to hand it over to Mark if you want to introduce yourself and I'll talk a little bit more about NSIN and the mission before we jump into the program.
My name is Mark Anholt. I am the Foundry Program Manager for NSIN, the National Security Innovation Network. NSIN is a DoD organization. We sponsor this program. FedTech is our delivery partner, so they do all the execution. But NSIN is the one that's paying for this and sponsoring it. So NSIN, it's a DoD program. It's within the Defense Innovation Unit, which is an organization within DoD that reports directly to the Secretary of Defense. So we're a pretty high-level organization, but that reorganization happened about a year or so ago. But we've been around for about 8 years now, I believe. And our mission is to build a network of innovators to help solve DoD problems. And our vision is really to change the way the DoD solves problems to be more like the way the startup community does. So part of our mission is to reach out to non-traditional problem solvers like you guys, and try to enable you to do business with the government and to solve problems with the government in an iterative manner, and really try to level the playing field. The big defense industrial base primes, they have access to the DoD. They're able to sit in their offices and talk to them and iterate on stuff, but startups really don't. And so we think that the DoD is really missing out on a lot by not having this mechanism, not having good mechanisms to really engage iteratively with problem solvers like you guys. So we have a whole lot of programs, so I encourage you to check out nsin.mil and see our other programs in our talent and venture portfolios. Foundry is one of them. And the way we are engaging with these non-traditional problem solvers with you guys is by trying to match you up with DoD technologies that have already been developed in the lab. So Greta's going to go into this a bit more, but really there's technologies that the government has already spent money on, but we really need your help to actually develop solutions out of them. They can only take the technologies so far, and then it's really up to the private sector to grab those technologies and create solutions that are going to benefit the DoD and the government. So we built this startup studio to do just that. So that's our motivation. Our motivation is you guys. We want to bring you into our ecosystem, into our community, and what we're offering is this government tech that we've already spent a lot of money on and we think has commercial potential, and we want your help to assess that commercial potential, and hopefully if you see to assess that commercialization potential, and hopefully if you see value there, that you'll form a company and license the technology and develop a solution out of it that'll benefit both the private sector and the DoD. So that's why we're here. We're really here because we value what you guys bring to the table in terms of your innovation, and we want to pull you into our network, and we want to give you an opportunity to start a new company that will be a part of our network around some really great technologies. So that's why we're here. I'll hand it over to Greta. She will talk more about the program and get into the details.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mark. That really helps, I think, set the stage for the broader context and mission and sort of impetus behind creating this program. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or afterwards. But with that, I'm going to dive into talking a little bit more about our team and the program as a whole. And so just a quick, introduction on myself. Greta Spivey, Senior Associate here at FedTech, and I've been here for 3 years and managed a variety of different innovation programs, and most recently have been managing the NSIN Foundry program. So I basically just love working with entrepreneurs. I think it's really inspiring how you all just frankly want to change the world, as funny as it sounds. And so, yeah, it's one of the funnest parts of my job for sure. But this is really a team effort, right? You got to see Mark and NSIN, the sponsor of this program, and certainly myself. But, if you are a part of this program, there's really going to be a whole community behind you supporting you in this commercialization process. So I want to allow my team to also introduce themselves. Honestly, you'll probably see some communication from them too. Lily, if you want to come off and introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Hi, everybody. I'm here from the technology partnerships team. So I work with all of our DoD labs to source the technologies for this cohort. Thank you, Greta.
Awesome. And then Ellen, if you want to just give everyone a quick snapshot of yourself and your role here.
Hi everyone, my name is Ellen Erickson. I'm the community manager at FedTech. So you may have already received a couple emails from me inviting you to attend this session. If you have questions about recruitment or participation kind of in the cohort, happy to sync one-on-one, get to know you a little bit better and kind of walk you through additional steps to participate. Thanks for joining today.
Awesome. And there's a few other awesome, really great people who are all part of this. Maybe you've heard from someone, my colleague named Cole. He's an integral part of this team as well. So yes, you'll be getting a lot of communication from us, but please, do take it, earnestly. If you have any questions, reach out to us. That's why we're here to support you through this process. So a little bit about FedTech, we really focus on accelerating and commercializing, deep tech and defense research and development. And really what that looks like, it depends on our, sponsor and our partner, but, we run accelerators, we run startup studios similar to Foundry, internal innovation, and overall advisory. And in terms of our track record, where we even get access to this technology, particularly for startup studio programs, right, as Mark mentioned earlier, that a lot of government labs already have this amazing IP. So we partner with over 50 different labs who are the source of this tech that is a part of this program. Within our broader studios portfolio, we've built over 200 teams, and from those teams, right, not all of them form companies, but a lot of them have. Over 90 companies have been formed. And then individuals who go on to license that technology that they're paired with, as part of their broader company building efforts. We've seen over 40 agreements, and then roughly 200 million in public and private funding raised around those companies. So pretty cool track record there. And yeah, so we're going to dive into this specifically within that startup studio program, Foundry. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. So simple visual here, but I think it's a good way to ground us, right? So we had that great introduction to NSIN's mission and desire to build that broader ecosystem of problem solvers and innovators, right? So there's that bucket there. We have this really interesting DoD technology that is in the labs that has a lot of potential and already has a lot of research and development behind. It's just lacking that final piece, right? Entrepreneurs who will put in the work to identify, okay, this is maybe the commercialization path it could go down. And then within those three sort of bubbles, we have our Foundry program. And in terms of broader outcomes, right, this is not the first iteration. It's been around for 4 cohorts. Specifically, it kicked off in 2020. So we've had over 70 companies incorporated from this program, and from that, 20 cooperative R&D agreements. So, nice to see, right? This is certainly a long journey, right? It takes some time. You go through the program, you then have to go through licensing the technology you've been paired with, but it's really cool to see some of that momentum that's been built after, a few cohorts here. So I want to talk a little bit more about our process, right? And what goes into our broader startup studio program. So our Startup Studio program is broken into 2 phases. Specifically, our Foundry program this year will have 16 teams. So roughly speaking, we aim to have 3 entrepreneurs per team. Sometimes there's a bit of flexibility if you want to have 4, but generally speaking, it looks like 16 teams with 3 entrepreneurs apiece per program this year. And the phase 1 is really focused on, customer discovery. Okay, so we've been paired with this really cool technology, but now we need to get a sense of a potential use case or multiple use cases and really try to understand it's a potential path towards commercialization. So you're taken through that journey of customer discovery. It's really a broader community that's going to guide you. It's not just, we don't just let you out in the wild. We give you a lot of support. You're going to have a coach. You're going to have mentors. You're going to have NSIN supporting you. You're going to have FedTech taking you through both phase 1 and phase 2. So once you've gone through that initial customer discovery, started to look at, okay, perhaps this is, where product market fit for my technology. Phase 2 is really focused more on, okay, how do I go about, really sincerely licensing this technology? How do I go about incorporating, building a company? And the other thing I want to flag for you outside of the broader community, right, that's there to support you throughout phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 2 has a variety of advisors that are free to you, right? Okay, Greta, for example, I have a question about how would I incorporate? Should I be an LLC or a C Corp? Unclear. That's okay. We have legal advisory that's going to help you in that phase and a variety of other advisors that help you along this journey. And just to note, in terms of the length, perhaps you all have seen, I feel that a lot of these programs are much shorter and more intensive and frankly, just can't touch on as many really critical themes that go into building a startup and a company. This program is pretty substantive though. The first phase is 10 weeks. That's again where we take you through that customer discovery. And then the second phase, it's focused more on corporation and building a company and really getting into that licensing process is 8 weeks. So the program itself will start in July and end at the beginning of December. This is just another visual, right? Depending on you, different folks in the audience, but really just talking about, as I mentioned, right, the goal of that phase 1 is to validate the problem solution fit, again, with that stakeholder and customer discovery interviews. We also have weekly sessions. So in addition to that coach and mentor, we have weekly virtual sessions. I want to add, this is a fully virtual program that is designed that way intentionally to allow maximum participation from people across the country. And then we also have lectures. We bring in a lot of different experts who have insight into the defense space, the licensing space, and overall commercialization space to just offer that education and guidance you need throughout this journey, and general pitch practicing as well. So phase 2, again, that's really focused on forming a company and really starting to build those relationships that are key for licensing. So it will look similar in terms of having weekly workshops that are run, again, in a virtual manner, but more focused on, if any of you all have an MBA, I feel like this looks like a mini MBA a little bit. There's some basics around forecasting, finances. This is where we bring in our legal experts and a variety of other advisors who can help you along this journey of company formation. And then something else I want to highlight about this program that I think is, pretty unique in terms of what I've seen in this space, but is the access to non-dilutive funding at the end. So the program will culminate in a showcase, which is pretty cool. I imagine you all, if you haven't seen one, there's plenty on the FedTech website. What does the Startup Studio Showcase look like? But a really unique aspect of the Foundry program is that the winners of that showcase will have access to non-dilutive funds, which is, pretty awesome just to help you along your journey of commercialization. Okay, this is just a sort of broader timeline visual. And, we're going to share this afterwards. So you don't need to, if you're concerned about taking notes, it will be emailed out to you as well. But, in terms of applications, if you haven't gotten yours in yet, it's meant to be pretty straightforward. So I strongly recommend you submit that. Applications will close before July 1st. With that said, we are exploring I would say evolving the program a little bit more this year, really trying to encourage entrepreneurs and individuals to, create their own teams. So priorly in years past, we were much more involved with creating the teams ourselves, right? So bringing strangers together around this paired technology who'd expressed interest in the technology. And, sometimes that works really well. Sometimes, bringing strangers together is more not, it has some challenges, as you can imagine. So we just wanted to give a little more flexibility and honestly encourage you all to, self-select a little bit with your team before the program kicks off, right? It will really enhance your likelihood that you'll get selected. And, so think about that, right? If there's another person in your network, maybe there's a colleague and you've always chatted about how you want to start a company, but don't have that access, don't have that good idea or the access to the technology. This is a great way to, explore that and work on a startup together. So, no pressure. Again, you're not precluded from the program if you don't self-select and create your own team. But, it is something we're strongly encouraging. And there will be some opportunities, which I'll talk through in a second, for you to explore also just other applicants, right, who have applied to this program and potentially form a team around them. So again, this is the visual. Applications will close in July. I do want to flag for you all, we have a virtual kickoff session on July 27th, which is a Saturday. I know that's not ideal, but it's really important for us just to kick off the program, and you get to meet everybody, right? You get to meet your inventor, who's also going to be of the technology, who's going to be working really, really closely with you throughout the process. You get to meet your mentor, your coach. We have some really, great sessions to kick off overall program. So just flagging that because it is pretty critical you attend. Again, it's all virtual. And then we kick off and go into our phase 1 programming, phase 2, and then our showcase event. That's first week of December. Okay, this is just a quick overview. Again, I think in terms of managing expectations, right? This is quite a commitment. Starting a company, I imagine there are some founders in here, some individuals who haven't, and that's okay. We love people from all different backgrounds, but it is a commitment. So do want to flag that. Yes, it's virtual, so that's something that is more accessible to individuals, but it will take a lot of time. So outside of the workshops and, syncing with your coach, we recommend, in total recommend 15 to 20 hours a week. So that's really going to be broken down by customer discovery, overall market research, and just exploring the technology. So please keep that in mind, right? This is, is a pretty serious commitment, but I promise is worth it. Okay. So as I mentioned, right, we, used to priorly generally focused on just pairing 3 strangers together per team, per technology, right? 16 teams, 16 technologies, and exploring a new method this year where we have a couple of different channels where you can meet other applicants who are interested in this program. Or alternatively, if you want to bring a team of 2 or 3 in, let us know. But one avenue is the lookbook, and that's where it's just a simple way to access and see others in your background. So that's something we'll be leveraging next month, and you can sign up for now. Additionally, I do want to kind of flag for you all. So outside of the application being live, if you haven't applied, strongly recommend you apply because you won't have access to that Slack channel or the lookbook. And the Slack channel is another avenue we're exploring this year, really just trying to give everybody an opportunity to engage with other applicants. An example of some of the ways we're leveraging that channel, previewing, okay, last year these were some of the tech verticals of our technology. Just to give you a sense of a flavor of tech you might be paired with outside of the lookbook. So, please do apply and encourage you to get that in, before July 1st, because you can take advantage of some of these networking opportunities around the lookbook and the Slack channel. And as well, really excited for next month, we are going to have virtual event where we're going to preview some of the technologies so you can get a sense of, okay, there's going to be these 16 cool technologies, but what will this actually look like? So we'll be able to give you all a preview of that. I'll be joined by the tech partnerships team, Lily. She's the one who's working diligently, reaching out to labs right now to source really interesting tech for this program. So you'll get to see the tech. There will also be opportunities to connect and network with other applicants and potentially, form that team, right? If there's no one from your network you've identified. So, keep that in mind and we'll send out more information about that, but just good opportunities there.